little bit about myself. My name is Eric Ailes. I work at Starlite Recovery Center in Center Point, Texas. We're a drug and alcohol residential treatment program. I'm also the board president of the Spiritual Care Network, and just blessed to do that. We are a nonprofit with the goal, the mission to bridge the gap between mental health and faith. We do that by offering webinars, conferences, networking groups. I think we now have over 16 networking groups across Texas and really across the South, and we're rapidly growing. So, you know, check our Facebook page and our website to see the locations near you, and we invite you to attend. I guess that's all we need. Feel free to use the chat box to announce who you are, and the Q&A box to give us some good questions so we could really try to stump Helena at the end here. So, and I guess that's all we need. Let me turn it over to you, Helena.
Hey, thank you so much to you and the remainder of the board for allowing me to share some time and space with you all today. This talk is one of the talks that I think, number one, it's perfect for a Friday. Number two, I like how light it is, but it gives good insight, good information, kind of helps you feel good, helps you, you know, kind of re-energize and take, you know, a look at things a little differently. If you see my eyes go here, my notes are here on an iPad while we're here because I don't put everything in a PowerPoint. I like to have conversations with my audience. And like Eric said, we do, you know, we have become pros at doing virtual events. I love having conversations with the audience. So at the end, I'm looking forward to any questions, dialogue, suggestions, and so forth. But just to share a little bit about who I am. My name's Helena Washington. I reside in Houston, Texas. I have a private practice here. And it seems as though my practice has turned into a young adult practice because I think about 80% of my population right now are young adults from ages 18 to 30, which is a great thing. But some of the challenges that I am dealing with have a lot to do with just kind of helping them put their best foot forward, you know, trying to help them with some resiliency, going a step above, you know, just the 12 steps IOP and treatment. I do individual, I work with families who need to heal from the ravages of addiction. And I also run groups. And currently my groups that I'm running are for young adult women. The current group that I'm running is closed, but the next cycle will be starting in June, and I will put that information out there. Some of the topics that we focus on are, the title of the group is Resiliency and Recovery. We deal with everything from cognitive restructuring, obviously offering recovery support, interpersonal skills. We deal with faith. We deal with family healing. And because I have a background, an extensive background in trauma work, I do a great deal of trauma healing within the group and in my individual private practice. I also have an adolescent intervention and coping skills group that will be starting, that will meet once a week, and that is on an 8-week cycle. And the other groups are on a 6 to 8 week cycle as well. So here in Houston, BraveBird Recovery and Wellness, my contact information is all the way at the top, and it will also be at the end of the webinar. I would like to go ahead and start. Thank you all for spending your lunch breaks and afternoon with me, especially on a Friday. I appreciate that. Okay, I am going to share screen, right? Okay. Am I doing it right, Eric?
I don't see the screen quite yet. I think you hit the green share screen and then select which screen.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, all right. I don't see it quite yet. Boom. Okay, we're in business.
There we go. Okay. The title of this conversation, as I mentioned before, is Replenishing Your Soul, knowing when to reassess, realign, and redefine. And the reason I focus on this is because of many of the challenges that many of us have gone through and experienced over the last 2.5 years, going through the pandemic, dealing with a lot of societal stressors and things like that. And let's see here, there we go. Again, this is my practice information. I already shared who I am. And today's focus, let me move this box, there we go. Today's focus is for us to just, be better clinicians, be better friends, be better, helping professionals across the board. Sometimes we need to just step back and reflect and adjust our daily goals, who we are, redefine our purpose. And I think that these last 2.5 years have caused us to, without us wanting to, we've had to step back and do a lot of reevaluating. Because has your work or your practice changed, and has it changed significantly for the positive or for, negatively? Are you feeling stuck or burned out more than ever? Where are you struggling as a clinician or helping professional? With all of the lifestyle changes, with your practice changes, we've had to go through some changing, as far as how we, provide services, different webinars, provisions just for us to ethically be able to offer virtual services. Where have you grown? Have you rediscovered new interests, new abilities, new strengths that you did not realize were there, or that you may have forgotten and have come back to the forefront? I would like to just speak briefly about compassion fatigue. What is compassion fatigue, and how is it caused? Compassion fatigue and burnout are two separate things. Burnout is caused by environmental work stressors, challenges, the problems that you face within work, not feeling, of value, or dealing with systemic or political issues that take place within the work field. Compassion fatigue is caused by high levels of empathy. Empathy is that thing that we all, we're proud to say we're empathetic. We're proud to say, we want to be the best clinician, be, the best friend, be the best parent that we possibly can. It's also a natural consequence of stress resulting from caring and helping, also dealing with traumatized and suffering people. And I'm not going to break down secondary trauma or vicarious trauma. I just wanted to kind of discuss what the definition of compassion fatigue is, because that's what's kind of brought us to the point to where we are today. At the start of the pandemic, we realized that we were professionals, we were parents, we were doctors, we were magicians, we were teachers, we were, whatever else needed to be done for our children, for the people we care about, and also for the people that we're still servicing, whether we're part of different boards, our organizations. Some people also may have lost employment and had to really figure out what's next for me as a professional, as a parent. How am I going to provide for my family? The contributors to compassion fatigue, let's talk about it. Volume, meaning work, meaning financial stressors, not returning to work, trying to figure out and redefine what is your new normal. Violence within our communities. Here in Houston, we have been done, we have the most road rage incidents that's taking place across the country. When we talk about historical or repetitive trauma that takes place in certain environments, certain communities, social injustices, constantly seeing, various things in the media that stress us out, increased suicidality, family stressors, lack of faith and spirituality. And the reason I put that at the bottom is when we take a look at the summation of all of these things on the list, sometimes all we can do is rely on our faith. All we can do is connect spiritually, whether that's going to church, because many of us were not able to attend our places of worship because of the pandemic. Many people are still afraid to be in large crowds. We had to figure out a way. How do we connect spiritually? Is by taking a walk in nature. Is it by watching, church services online? So there are various means that we had to really start to improvise with in order to meet those needs. One of the things I like to ask, and someone asked me this question back in the late 2000s, when I was in grad school. I was winding up grad school, getting my master's in counseling, when I was looking at, all of the things I had on my plate. I dealt with a lot of mom guilt. I was a professional, I was in school full time, and I was just trying to get so many things done. I didn't step back and breathe. Okay. Someone asked me, they said, who wrote the book that you live by? Take a break, slow down, stop. Change the chapters in that book. Maybe you need to alleviate some of that. Maybe you need to put new chapters in that book that you live by. Some of those chapters need to be deleted altogether because they're not feeding the total you. And I had to step back and do some reevaluating on myself at that point. I would like to go into, and because of the fact that I'm sharing screen and we're not live, I would like to engage the conversation at the end. So if you have questions and so forth, of course, Eric will help field those things for me. But I just want to kind of give a timeline of, some of the things that many of us went through, whether, within our social circle, our professional circle, or personally. When 2020 began, we're looking at these questions I asked from about 4 different people. So I just put in different pieces of where their life was. I'll start, the year started, I had major surgery. That was me for the recovery. Refocusing on business, the shutdown happened. April to July, people were trying to figure out and restructure what their lives meant and also how to live. Various programs were canceling programs, redefining programs. Many outpatient programs were struggling, trying to figure out how are we going to offer partial hospitalization or IOP services. Many programs had to shut down because of that. Many programs did not make it through the pandemic. Something that happened to me during that process, my mom's health, became questionable, and I had to leave Texas, and I was in Ohio for almost 3 months at the beginning of the pandemic. So that temporary relocation going back to Toledo, Ohio, that's my input to this chart. Now let's talk about August to November, and I'm bringing it all the way to today. Virtual learning, our kids were in school. Teachers were trying to figure out the best way to provide instruction, while their kids are at home or their animals are having a problem. We all learned how to work from home. I know one of the funny things that we all would joke about in some of my meetings when I would have my community meetings, because of the board, some of the boards that I sit on, everyone knew of the Amazon bark. Everyone's dogs would bark at different times when Amazon came or when our groceries were being delivered to us. So we found humor through the stress of that situation. We had to figure out new ways of celebrating family when we talk about what are we doing for Thanksgiving. There were so many fears of us protecting our seniors, our family members that may have had some, compromised immune systems, because so many things were questionable with COVID, and the emotional overload, making sure everyone in your environment was healthy, making sure your clients are healthy, making sure those you were volunteering with, were healthy, trying to be a good friend, trying to be great support to your family members, and also trying to take care of you. Going into December to current, now that things have opened back up, I remember at the beginning of the year, I was so excited to launch my groups, but Omicron came. I had to put that on hold for another couple of months, to figure out what was going on there, because I had to keep those that I provide service with, I had to keep them healthy. I had to keep myself and my family healthy in the community I provide services in, reassessing what does that look like and figuring out a way to re-energize. I think when the shutdown occurred, it allowed us many opportunities to really slow down, to explore things, as far as leading to, very good mental wellness. Mental wellness is what this talk is primarily about. And according to Global Wellness 2001, they have defined mental wellness, and it's different from talking about mental health, but the two can work simultaneously together. Mental wellness is an internal resource that helps us to think, feel, connect, function. It's the active process that helps us remain, build, and grow, within our resilience. The definition characterizes mental wellness as a dynamic, renewable, and positive resource. And it's also an active process. I'm going to repeat that. It is an active process that requires initiative and conscious action. You have to be intentional with your mental wellness. It recognizes mental wellness as an internal experience that encompasses multiple dimensions. The dimensions that they mention, and I also, support, and I have seen these things are important. Spirituality. How are you connecting spiritually? What is your relationship with God? What is your relationship with your higher power? Family. Your physical, meaning your nutrition, meaning your sleep. How are you taking care? Are you taking medications the way you're supposed to? Are you talking to a therapist if you need it? Helping professionals need to seek help also in support. Financial, where are we professionally? The conversations that I have been having so much over the last 2 years about professionalism and what is our new professional identity, they have been so interesting, very intriguing dynamics behind that. We were forced to become very creative. And the one thing, I am not a creative to the sense of artistic. My creativity comes from my groups. My creativity, I'm really big on diversity. For those who know, I do a lot of diversity talks. I love engaging with people who are different from myself. I love having experiences. So when I talk about professional rediscovery, how can I incorporate some of those fun, creative modalities into servicing my population that I work with? For those who are coming, looking at, life-changing and so forth. I really had to hone in, looking at all the books on my shelf. How can I take and redefine how my creativity can help those around me and help those I serve? Walt Disney said the way to start is to quit talking and just start doing. I'm really big on telling my kids, I'm the mother of 3, grandmother of 1. I'm really big on telling folks, stop saying I'm going to try. I want you to do. If you fall along the process, let's work on picking ourselves up and keep moving. Sometimes that encouragement and that push are is what's needed. One of the things that I do want to talk about is taking a look at the challenges and how all of the stress can show up. It can show up because those who are most at risk, therapists, doctors, nurses, clergy, journalists, our family members, and other social service providers are at risk of having really poor mental wellness because we pour so much into people. And when we talk about clergy, I think sometimes we forget about our spiritual providers, our faith providers. I think we look at them sometimes as superheroes. They're dealing with so much on, with the congregation. I sometimes hear, I am a child of the 70s. We didn't have mega churches back then. We had churches where everyone knew everybody. We had experiences. We, enjoyed the fellowship. We had dinner sometimes at the church where I grew up. And now we have very large congregations, large churches, and folks who may have been part of those congregations are feeling lost in the process. Well, why do they have, so many people in between me and the pastor? Well, we have deacons. We have various ministries that step up. One of the things that I love about the Spiritual Care Network is honing in on the connection between mental wellness, mental health, and the faith-based community, because that is something that bridge needs to be that gap needs to be bridged. One of the other things I want us to remember when we're talking about our faith-based community and building our tribe, because they're also a part of that tribe, I need us to remember they're human. Utilize those ministries. We can't just pray everything away. That's not working. Prayer is important. Following our faith is important. But if someone has breast cancer, if someone's struggling with diabetes, if someone's struggling with prostate cancer, I say this on a regular basis, you're going to seek help from your medical team and you're going to seek prayer. We need to do the same when it comes to our mental wellness. Okay, we need to have that connectivity when we talk about what are we doing to build our tribe to get through. We need our friends. We need our, identify the different people in your life and what is their purpose. I have certain friends that I have my network of friends from college. There's 4 of us in a group chat. Every day we send prayers to each other. We send funnies. We make each other laugh. We support each other when we're having struggles every single day. That's that purpose. That's that part of me getting fed. I have my friends in the field that have become part of my close network. Sometimes we can identify people who become, different types of family to us. They're not blood relatives, but their purpose is to feed my spirit, my emotional state. And I offer that same, insight to them. Someone who can be real with me. Call me on something. Hey, Helena, I think you may need to take a look at this. Or Helena, you did this, or you're awesome at this. Sometimes we need to pat each other on the back. We need that support from one another. What are your friends looking like? What is your tribe? What are the differences that bring y'all together? I have had so many conversations lately with individuals because politics have torn people apart. Someone asked me, she was a lady of Hispanic descent, and her friend was from another country coming in, but they had different political views. And she was struggling because of the political views. And her comment to me was, I don't know how to still be friends with this person. The one thing I told her, what connected you to that individual? What brought you joy in that relationship? When you're talking about the differences, and we're also talking about the stressors that are going on politically, I want the politics to stop tearing relationships apart. Our mental wellness is struggling right now because of societal stressors and all of this trauma that we're seeing in the news, the experiences that we're seeing. What's going on in the Ukraine is taking a toll on us. What's taking place with our gas prices? Understanding political views. Someone I saw posted something on social media recently, and it was so necessary. Why are we letting these things tear us apart and divide us instead of taking a look at the strength of the love and compassion that we once had for each other? We really need to step back and evaluate that when we take a look at what makes up our tribe, professionally, with our families, within our communities. One of the things that I also like to talk about when I'm discussing redefining, say your truths and seek them in others. Having wonderful boundaries. Your boundaries are your boundaries. They're not for anyone else. They're for you. But when you set those boundaries, do it with love and compassion. I don't want you setting boundaries to where you're causing harm to yourself or the relationship or the individual that you're trying to set the boundaries with. Say your truths and seek them in others. Push for showing more love, more connectivity. Open yourself up for new beginnings while you're setting those boundaries and making sure your mental wellness is together. Let's look at this timeline. And I know I'm trying to stay on task. If I'm going too fast, just, this is recorded. We can go back and have some dialogue, but I want to get through this. Let's look at a timeline when we talk about starting over, refreshing who we are, what's going on. Number one, it's okay for us to reassess. Reassess our goals. What are our financial goals? What are our goals with our families? Okay, what are our professional goals? This time has allowed us to sit back and reassess what's important to us. What's of value? Your core values remain the same, but because we are humans, we are always evolving. That's why I'd like us to talk about redefining. Once you start reassessing, trying to figure out that path, the pattern, and what direction you want to go, start redefining what that means to you. Start redefining your focus, redefining what you can pour into others, redefining what you're going to allow to come back into your space. Once you get those things in place, start realigning that with your professional and your spiritual goals. How are all of these things aligning with my core values? How am I making sure my needs are being met? How am I making sure that I'm also being available to those who matter to me? How am I able to pour, once I start reinventing myself, starting to redefine what that means? When you reinvent, I like this. I like to call it seasons. I recently turned 50, so that's my new season. With each season of my life, I like to reinvent. I like to reinvent something different. How am I approaching my groups? How am I approaching my relationships with my family? What does it mean? I have 2 adult children. I have to reinvent what my parenting is like to be a parent to an adult. They're not children, different expectations, different types of communication, different types of respect. Having conversations with my daughter who has her own family, having conversations with her as a woman, not just my daughter. I also still have a child at home. How am I co-parenting? What does that reinvention look like? How does that impact them? I have a new title. I had to reinvent myself. I'm a grandmother, and I have fun with it. Folks who are close to me or follow me on social media, I go by Duchess. My mother is Granny, and I go by Duchess, and my granddaughter calls me that, and we have fun with it. How do I reinvent myself professionally? I love to do more wellness talks. Yes, I love talking about diversity and how we can all appreciate our differences and learn how to work better and provide better services to those who are different than us. But my focus this year primarily has been focusing on mental wellness and how we are going to pull ourselves up. People are struggling. People are struggling. I think we need to recognize where our own struggles are. I think we need to be open when our friends are reaching out to us, especially those who are helping professionals. Helping professionals, we have probation officers. I'm not just talking about psychiatrists, social workers, and counselors. I'm talking about those who are student aides in the classroom. I'm talking about the school counselor. I'm talking about the crossing guard. I have conversations with crossing guards who are struggling. So these talks are very timely with the people around you when you're having this. If you all want this presentation, I can send it to you, okay? I just want us to have these conversations so that we're able to reboot in a more healthier state. When we are connected to all areas of our lives, there's another presentation that I do. I took the slide out of here because it's a long presentation and I wanted to stay within the time that we had allotted. When I talk about rebooting, it's almost like a pie chart. It has all the different areas of your life with you in the middle and all the different branches that make up who you are in your day-to-day life. Take some time and do that exercise with yourself. It's okay to, we do all of these exercises with the people we work with. Take time to do those exercises with yourself to make sure you're aligned with proper mental wellness as we go through this process. When we talk about redefining, I mentioned to you boundaries. You are evolving. Your boundaries and your standards are going to evolve. Reevaluate the relationships. I like to say, hey, let's recategorize that. What relationships go in this box, what relationships go in this box, and what relationships go in this box. The reason I'm saying that, we also have to be very, very keen. Our eyes need to be open on the relationships that are not feeding our spirit. the relationships that may be a little bit more toxic that we may need to step back from. It's okay to set those boundaries. Remember, boundaries are for you. And I have made the comment, to someone, and I say this with love and compassion, my boundaries are my boundaries. I will share my boundaries with you when I need to set them and when I need to change them, but it's going to be done with love and compassion. I'm not trying to wound you. I'm trying to make sure I'm okay. If I'm not okay, I can't be okay for the people around me. About 20 years ago, I had to learn to say no. I really had to learn to say no. Sometimes in certain professions, there may be certain individuals that have certain skill sets and they may pull on you a little bit more, or you have put yourself in situations where you're volunteering a lot more, giving so much when you see that there's a need and you just want to fill that need. People will lean on you more sometimes than you, when your cup is not full and it continues to be depleted. You have to learn to step back and say no. You really need to step back. I have no problem saying no. Sometimes I ask the people that I'm really close to and I say, no, what part of that don't you understand, the N or the O? I can't do that right now, but let me lead you in another direction. Let me offer some support. Let me provide someone else that can step up into that role, because right now I'm not able to do that for you. Okay. Talk about self-care. Selflessness is not selfishness. I will say that one more time. Selflessness is not selfishness. Okay. Step back and do regular personal assessments. Find out what you need to alleviate. Where are my strengths and where are my weaknesses? I know, I don't think that I'm not sure if people ask that question anymore. I know back in the 80s and 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Obviously, I didn't work in the 70s. I was a kid. That was my childhood. But in the 80s, in the 90s, people would always ask you, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Okay, step back, do that. There's so many self-assessments. Seek help when you need it. It's okay to get a life coach. It's okay to get a therapist, even a helping professional. I have my network of sister friends. I have my network of brother friends, males that I'm close to that I can talk to. I have therapists that I can talk to. And when I need to go to therapy, all therapists need a therapist at times. Everyone can use a clinician in their lives at some point. We all go through change, whether it's grief, whether it's loss, whether it's confusion, whether it's just trying to realign your values. Seek help from your faith community. What your faith community can do for you, no one else can. Okay? Establish new routines and follow through with them. We have these things in our hands. These things are computers. They're not just to talk. Set alerts. There's different apps. I use certain apps. They bring me joy. Some apps help me relax. I share different apps that I think can help the folks that I work with. I share different apps with people that I'm close to. Hey, I saw this app. This may help alleviate, you have, so much clutter. My son showed me this. Maybe you want to do something on OfferUp. This app can help you relax in the evening to where you're not having a glass of wine to relax. You can do some mindfulness. This app can help you with your finances to help you budget a little bit better. When we talk about those things, I have my faith apps on my phone. I have a couple of them. I have certain podcasts that I listen to. When I'm in the car, I like to listen to books because I'm an avid reader, but sometimes I don't have time to really delve into a book that's this thick. So when I'm driving, when I'm in the kitchen cooking, I use my iPad for what it is. I have YouTube on sometimes. I can listen to things. That's me taking care of myself while I'm providing love through my meal to my family. So there's so many modalities that we can implement when we talk about self-care. The next one, when I talk about redefining, redefine what enjoyment is to you. Embrace your authentic self. Love you. Love those that are around you. Love the things that you possess. Don't look at your deficiencies. It's so easy for us to look at our deficiencies. We have so many things coming at us day to day, the stressors. Start the basic. start going back to looking at the glass half full versus empty. Understand what brought you joy in the past. If photography brought you joy in the past, even if it's your phone and you don't want to spend $500 or $600 on a Canon camera, utilize some of these apps. I have certain apps on my phone because of my family situation. I want to capture great pictures. I had started picking up photography as a hobby. Certain apps came out, they were 99 cents or the whole package was $2.99. Now they're $30. I took advantage of those things because I enjoy playing with them. I enjoyed the pictures. Find those things that bring you joy. If you like exercising, there's so many new things, whether it's through YouTube, whether it's through Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime and you have Netflix, they have so many workout regimens. There's yoga. You pay for it because you have Amazon. You pay for it because you have Netflix. Find joy in certain movies that you like watching. Get out, explore your community. We're here in Houston, we're dealing with unprecedented heat. I had a session this morning with someone. Part of their, what makes them feel good, it's so hot. I said, identify a park that has a lot of trees and shade. Get out during non-peak times of the day. If that's what you want to do, have your water, make sure you have a decent meal. I'm really big on nutrition. I'm really big on physical activity for brain health. That's part of my practice. I work closely with practitioners, and everyone I work with, we implement their healthcare into their brain care, okay? Start to loosen your reins. Laugh at things. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to hug. I know, I like asking the question now that things have opened back up. Are you hugging? Some people miss the touch. I know I miss touching. When we went back, I am the president of Houston chapter TAP, the Texas Association for Addiction Professionals. We had our first meeting. We had to push it back because of the Omicron variant. But one of the things that we really missed connectivity. We wanted to hug. We asked, are you hugging? People wanted hugs. They wanted touch. They wanted to look each other in the eye. I love embracing you all through a screen, but that sense of touch is important. So start loosening your reins. If you still have apprehensions because of the pandemic, many of us are still dealing with trauma from the pandemic, whether it's from losing someone or fears, dealing with issues with having confidence in the vaccination. Make sure you talk about those things, but figure out ways for you to reconnect and find out, how can I gain that sense of community again? When I also talk about loosen your reins, start to explore things you may not have explored before. We all learned how to exercise at home. We figured ways out. Some of us started painting again. I have bought paintings from people who are online on Instagram. They used their expression. That's how they dealt with their depression. That's how they managed their bipolar disorder. That's how they managed their anxiety, through their artwork. And I thought that was so amazing. I did purchase some of the art, because some folks lost income, but it helped their mental wellness, it helped their mental health, and it also helped them financially. Okay, so explore different ways of how you're selling, how you're making connectivity. There's so many new dating apps. I am not here to promote dating apps, but I know people have reached out to connect to community. There's certain Facebook groups right now. I know one of the hot topics right now of the stressors we're dealing with societal wise is the infant formula shortage. They were talking about the hundreds of Facebook and Instagram, followings that are going on. There's some positivity there, but there's also the negativity, as far as, people inflicting so much fear and not wanting to talk to their healthcare providers. So we are getting stuck in this cycle again as we're getting through dealing with the Ukraine, emotions associated with that. Now we're dealing with high gas prices. Now we're dealing with people in our community who are trying to provide food for their loved ones. So we have to figure out ways to find enjoyment through all of these stressors. Remember your youthful curiosity and explore while we're dealing with all of these things. When we talk about redefining boundaries, self-care, and implementing enjoyment. Okay. this is the end. I don't usually put videos in that are kind of long. I hope you all can hear this video. I don't know. I'm hoping. I had some problems earlier with my computer, but this, it's in here. I will send it to you. If it doesn't play, I really want you to find time to find this video clip. It brought me so much joy, and it kind of wraps up everything that I've been talking about here. So I will go ahead and play this.
I'm a ballerina, and I'm a photographer. I'm a commercial photographer, and I'm a fine art photographer. And I've been photographing myself for over 20 years as a form of self-therapy, because that's what I do. When things get hard, I go take pictures of myself, and it's a lot cheaper than real therapy. So I figure that would help. So the types of pictures I make of myself are transformational. I transform myself into somebody I'm not, and it helps me get out of reality. And so since I'm a commercial photographer, I was approached by a ballet company in Phoenix called Ballet Arizona, and they asked me to give my interpretation of what I thought ballet was. So since I'd been photographing myself for 10 years at that point, I put on the tutu and just made a picture of myself. And it was awesome. It was perfect for what they needed. And so then a year later in 2003, my wife, Linda, who's right there, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, a very aggressive form. And since I do my work for my own therapy, you know, when I had breaks, I would go out, do half days, and do images of myself in environments, and in New York, and like big and vast environments. And it was very, very almost lonely and vulnerable, and like what I was going through and what she was going through. And I would come home with the images. Sometimes she would go with me, and we would go through the images we took and how we were feeling, and we would pick the best one for that day. So then in 2006, she was re-diagnosed. Her cancer had come back in her liver. So she had to go back to the center and get her chemotherapy again. So she would bring the images. Since she's my producer, we've worked together for 20 years, and she would take them to the center, show the women, the other patients, her friends, and it made them happy. And it took the, you know, edge off of what they were going through and the types of stuff that was being pumped into their veins. And so we decided, well, we should, you know, distribute these pictures around the world. And so we decided to publish a book, and we self-published a book. And that's when the Tutu Project was born. And we sent it out over the internet. We published the book, and then people just responded all over the world and really told us that this is a huge problem, you know, that people don't know where to go. And now they're telling me that they come to our website and to our social media outlets to see the new image posted for the day, because it makes their day. And it doesn't have to be cancer, it could be something else. So we're just so happy that we can help other people, and it's not about us anymore. And for me, I've been a photographer forever, I mean, it seems like forever since I was 17. And so I've always gone the creative route when I'm not feeling good. So when I'm not feeling good and when I'm feeling down, it's tutu time. So this is just a tiny piece of my journey.
The reason I love that video so much, and if you know, it's there, it's on YouTube, and I have the TED app because that's just who I am. I love TED Talks. But I love the fact that he was able to find joy through the pain, redefining, finding pleasure in the unusual, in the unknown. So with his spirit in mind, I want us to leave from this talk understanding it's okay to reach out and do something different and take care of ourselves and make sure our souls are being fed. Please don't lose sight of that. Please take heed to some of the things that were in here. I know I went through it pretty quickly. This is a longer talk, and there's other components to it, but I gave you guys the meat of it, the skeleton of it, to where hopefully you will start to embrace the new, do some realigning and some redefining so that you can reboot. Thank you all, and I'm here for some conversation. Thank you.
That was great. And you know, that tutu video reminds me of the Brene Brown book where she's talking about, daring greatly, where she said, just sing and dance and don't be worried about what people think. I love that. a lot of comments there and thank yous. I had a few people ask, can we get a copy of your presentation, like in a PDF form, and we could put it on our website?
Yes, I can do that. I can save it under PDF and I can send it to you.
That'd be great. And
I think it may already be there. Yes. So I can do that. That won't be a problem.
Okay, great. And we'll post that with the video and put it on YouTube and on our website. A lot of great comments. You mentioned about TAP, and I appreciate you being the president this year and all what you're doing. And I'm sorry I missed the meeting the other day, but give us an update on the State TAP conference coming up.
The State TAP conference this year is in September 8th through 9th and 10th. Hang on, let me get the dates right. And hopefully, yes. Yep. The 7th, it starts September 7th, and it's at the same Hyatt Regency in San Antonio. There are opportunities to still exhibit. And also Nicole Parker and Gordon Meltzer are from the Houston chapter. They're on the board. They're also over faculty, and they did extend the presentation call for presenters until the end of May. There will not be another extension. So if you are interested in speaking, please reach out to the website, tap.org. and you can go ahead and submit. And also hotels are going fast. If they have not already sold out, hotels are going fast. So that is available. We're excited about it. I did attend last year, and again, what I was saying, people miss connectivity. People just really wanted to be with each other. And it went well. You know, we had safety measures in place. It went really well. So hopefully we'll see you all there. And also here in Houston, you know, if you want to visit our website, houstonchaptertap.com, we have our meetings in a hybrid form. So if you are not a member of the addictions professionals, whether you're in Houston, San Antonio, Austin, we have chapters all across. That's the benefit of Texas. I'm from another state, Ohio. I'm still a member in Ohio, but my home state is not split up like that. So we have our community chapters. And when you join your local chapters, you're a member of state, and you're also a member of NADAC, which is our governing body. And there's tons of opportunities and things for you to engage, other committees you can join and have a voice. If you all have questions about my practice, speaking, or any other resources that I may be of help to you, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. My information is in, I know there's so many people, but it's all the way at the top. I think I can, let me see if I can post it again here. It worked. Okay, there you go. There's my information. My practice is in North Houston, but I am still providing services virtually. All my groups are face-to-face though. I don't personally do virtual groups, and my parent education and family education, those things are in person, unless I have a family that's at a distance and we set it up to where the family is in one setting and we're able to do it virtually, because I tend to do that. It's TAP, Rachel, TAAP. And that, or if you put in Texas Association for Addiction Professionals, I'm seeing some of the questions, but it's TAP, T as in Tom, A as in Apple, A as in Apple, P as in Paul. Okay.
It's going to be a great conference. I enjoy that and every year and look forward to it. Now I know you speak on ethics quite a bit, and you did that I think a few months ago for us. And are you going to be doing that at TAP, the ethics presentation?
No, I won't. But here's the kicker: I want some new people to submit.
Yeah,
you know, I love speaking. I do. And if y'all need me to come speak at your organization, that would be great. But I am one that likes to connect with new voices. And I would love to hear some of our, you know, additional leaders, clinicians. This past Wednesday, for example, we had an individual from Positive Recovery who spoke at the meeting. And it was his first big event, and he did awesome. You know, that was a new voice that we were able to hear in Glenn. You know, so I would love for, you know, some of you new folks who have not had an opportunity, if you feel you want to speak, try, you know, go ahead and submit. But I have not. I will, you know, if I am part of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee for the state, we will have some activities going on, so I will participate in that manner. But I'm looking forward to connecting with you all when I get to San Antonio.
Great, thank you. And I posted the link for our next webinar, and also the link to do your evaluation, to print off your certificate of completion. Also check our website for more upcoming webinars, and also check the groups in your area. Some of the groups actually have speakers. We have groups, let me go down the list here. Denton, now in Frisco, we just scheduled that today. We got multiple locations in the Houston area. I think Katy is coming up next Friday. We have the Woodlands. We have pop-up meetings around the Houston area. Corpus Christi is going great. Tyler's going great. San Antonio is not only going great, but they're putting together a conference. Austin met today. Oh my gosh, they had a great meeting. We have Memphis, wonderful group. DeSoto County, Mississippi is a good group, and then Little Rock, Arkansas is popping up, and many of these have not only networking opportunities, but speakers and CPU group or opportunities as well. So here, let me put that link for the evaluation back in there. You're also going to get that on an email tomorrow. Everybody that was on today will get a follow-up email with that link as well. So great. Well, thanks again, Helena. Great seeing you. See you around Houston one of these days. And thank you for everybody for joining us. And you know what? I just pray that one of these little golden nuggets that she talked about today will reach out and help people on this webinar, or also convey this information to our clients and our family. And I just know that God's using this message somewhere, somehow. He has a plan. So would you mind closing us with a word of prayer?
Sure. And one more thing I'd like to say, I have done this talk internationally a few times, the entire talk. This talk can be shared with anyone in any profession. People just need to hear it. Parts of it are very fun. But I think just with everything that's going on, we need a little bit more love and compassion, and we need to be compassionate with ourselves. Lord, thank you for this opportunity today. I am grateful for the Spiritual Care Network and all the great things they're doing around the community, around this country. Thank you for those who were able to make time today to join us for fellowship. Lord, thank you for the opportunity that technology has provided us to connect from distances near and far. Thank you for the opportunity for us to be able to share this message to those who we care about, those we love, and those we service. Please keep us focused, steadfast, keep our mental wellness in the forefront of our everyday goings and comings. Thank you again. May we all find peace this weekend and be safe. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you for everybody. Y'all have a blessed weekend, and you're doing good work.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Take care. Bye-bye.